Hey there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brittany Bundles, and today's video is another hair business talks video. I decided to create this video because I did a poll on my YouTube channel right here on the community tab, and I asked you all what you wanted to see more of. So the number one category that you all voted for was hair business related videos. The second was vlogs, and I think the third one was general business content. So if you do want to see something different, be sure to head over to my community tab and weigh in. I'm going to try to do these polls pretty frequently because I want to make sure that I'm dropping videos that the majority of the audience that watches want to see. So without further ado, I'm going to get right into the video. But first, please be sure to give the video a big thumbs up. Please make sure that you are subscribed. And today we're talking about a question that I got via my website form. If you have any questions, you can always leave them down below the videos, or you can go over to my website, keepingupwithbrittany.com, and leave a question. The forum is all the way at the bottom of the homepage, and it is linked down below. But the question that I'm going to go over is, can I start off selling one texture? This is a really important question because there are a lot of people that are wanting to get started with their hair business and not knowing exactly what to start off with, not knowing exactly where to look for vendors, not knowing if they should purchase in bulk, not knowing if they should start off drop shipping or both. And so I do have an ebook. The ebook is available on my website through badchickhair.com. I will have the ebook linked down below as well. And my ebook goes over how to upscale your business from drop shipping to selling wholesale. And it does a really good job with describing the benefits and the differences between the two. So if you're on the fence, not really deciding which way you want to go as far as your inventory options, be sure to check out that ebook. So I'm going to start off by number one saying, determine why you want to sell one texture. When you ask, or when you're thinking if you can start off selling one texture, it all depends. Everyone has a different vision for their business. Everyone has a different goal, and everyone's going to grow their business differently. So yes, you can start off selling one texture. You can start off selling two textures. You can start off doing whatever you want to do, but you want to make sure that it aligns with your goal. You want to make sure that it aligns with your target audience, and you want to make sure that it's something that is feasible for you. Profit-wise, time-wise, as far as the inventory, you want to make sure that all of those areas are adding up, right? So number one, determine why you want to sell one texture. Is it because it's simply preference? Is it to save money, or because you want to market to a certain niche? Now, I can say that there are companies that I have mentored that only sell straight hair, and they'll do Brazilian straight, or sometimes they'll sell raw hair, and it is in a very they don't offer multiple textures in the raw state. They have one specific origin that they offer, and they have a market that is centered around that, and it does work. But it all just depends on what the reasoning behind you wanting to start off, or questioning if you can start off with one texture or not. If it's to save money, I would recommend looking into other options such as drop shipping or the pre-order method. Now, you all know I've been offering drop shipping for some years. I have never really promoted the pre-order method or talked about the pre-order method as much as I do now. I won't really say promote, but I will talk about it. It's very similar to drop shipping, the pre-order method, and I'm not going to go too far into detail on this video. The difference is, in my opinion, and from my observation, I should say, is that there's really no a lot of times there's not really a solid agreement made between the companies and the individuals that are looking to do the pre-order method. Sometimes there is, but a lot of times they're not. A lot of times there'll be someone that is starting their hair business, they find a company they like, and they order as they get orders. And what I've seen happen in those certain scenarios is, because there's no agreement, if that company goes out of business, which is very common, when you're buying here overseas, some vendors do go out of business, or if they change their contact method, or if they stop replying to you. Let's say you're not purchasing as much as you used to purchase. I have heard different experiences from other people working via business consultations and through my mentorship that the vendors have started acting different, or certain vendors act different based on the quantity that you're purchasing. And so when they were purchasing a lot, they mentioned that they got responses back and they got their questions answered and they got consistent quality hair. When they weren't purchasing as much because their business traffic slowed down or whatever the case may be, they noticed a very distinguished difference in how the vendors were interacting with them. So with drop shipping, it's typically more organized in my experience and also in my opinion, because you have an understanding with the company that you're working with. You have a mutual understanding of, hey, this is the price that you're going to drop ship the products for. This is the amount that I'm charging for that. These are the products that are available. If you need answers to your questions, this is how you get it. If you need to contact us, so it's more so paying for that upfront relationship, in my opinion and in my experience, like I mentioned. Both options have worked. But I'm saying that if you are wanting to start off with one texture or two, ask yourself, what's the reason? So again, if it's to save money, I wouldn't necessarily go with one texture just purely off the idea or the want to save money, because there are other options that give you the ability to offer other products without necessarily purchasing in bulk. If that kind of clears that portion up for some of you out there. Another thing I want to point out is, if it's to market a certain niche, be very intentional about marketing to your target audience. So if you're looking at selling a specific texture or origin of hair and you don't want to have multiple options for the texture or origin that you're offering, then you want to make sure that you're very intentional on how you market. So although everyone is going to need to find their target audience, you're going to really want to tap into your target audience, because you're not positioning yourself as an average hair business where and I'm not saying anyone's an average hair business, but I'm saying it's very common for hair businesses to offer more than one texture. So if you're offering one texture, then you have to understand that it's going to make your business stand out and it's going to put you aside. Now that can be a good thing, but it also could be something that could be challenging to work towards if you don't have the time, or if you haven't invested the time to actually tap into your target audience, because not everyone is going to want to work with a company that doesn't offer multiple textures. There is a specific audience, a specific niche that you're going to need to tap into. So that is going to take time, it's going to take patience, and it's going to take marketing, and very specific and strategic marketing at that. The next point that I want to go over, number 2 on my list, is focus on the audience that you are targeting and ensure that the audience is large enough to yield the profit and engagement that you are interested in. And really, time will tell. So if you're considering starting off with one texture, you're going to want to focus on the audience, like I mentioned. You're going to want to get very specific to the people that you're targeting. Now, again, that this goes for anyone that is selling any product. You want to make sure that you're tapping into your target audience. And I did a free masterclass going over that a few months ago, and I sent everyone a copy that is enrolled in my email mailing list through my website, keepingupwithbrittany.com. So if you do want to be alerted whenever I do another free masterclass or any other training, or give out any tips or advice in regard to business, be sure to head over to my website, keepingupwithbrittany.com. Again, the link is down below, and subscribe to my email mailing list. But you also are going to want to make some determinations and ask yourself, hey, the people that I'm marketing to, this niche, am I able to reach enough people to make the profit that I'm looking at making? Because like I said a minute ago, you're not positioning yourself as an average hair business. So there are going to be specific people that are going to be interested in what you're offering. I've known certain stylists to only offer specific texture, and that worked well for her because she had people that already knew what she was offering, and she specialized in a certain type of style. She was doing sew-ins, and people would come to her for the style and also for the quality of her extensions. And then also she knew how to customize the extensions. Even though they were one texture that she offered, she was really good at versatility with that texture. So just because someone ordered that texture doesn't mean that they were going to look the same as the previous person that got out of her chair. She was really good with being able to understand her extensions and style the extensions to customize the look for each individual client. And people started going selling to her based on that. So it can work, but again, you're going to want to gauge, hey, am I able to market to the people, get access to the people that are really interested in what I'm offering? And am I going to be able to tailor it in a way where I can have enough business from this audience, from this group that are interested in what I'm offering, to be able to sustain my business? And not just sustain it, but am I able to gain the profit that I'm hoping I can gain? And am I also able to gain the interaction and engagement that I'm looking to gain from my supporters and clients and customers? Time will tell, okay? And it's not like you start offering one texture, you can't add anything else. You can always customize and tailor your business to fit your needs and to fit the needs of your customers and clients. So it's not like you just have to stick to one specific plan. But like I mentioned before, once you get started with something, you do want to give it some time, in my opinion, to see if it's going to actually work, if this is something that will be feasible for you or not. The next point is keep in mind people prefer options. So highlight the options that you do offer. Not too much of what you don't offer. So for example, promote your length options, color options, grade options if applicable. So if you are offering one texture, don't constantly talk about the fact that you don't have anything else to offer but this. You want to rephrase it in a way that sounds like this is what you do have, and you're accentuating the quality of what you do have instead of the disadvantages of what you don't have. So maybe you want to highlight, like I mentioned, length options. Maybe you offer different length options than a lot of other companies out there. Maybe you offer different color options. You don't have a variety of textures, but you have a variety of colors. Maybe you have a variety of grade options as far as the quality of the hair that you're offering, but they're still the same texture. And then also you want to make sure that you are standing out. So like I mentioned a little bit ago when I gave the example of a stylist that I know that offers one texture, but she's really good at how she installs the bundles. She's really good at how she customizes the look. So it doesn't look like she's limited. It doesn't look like she's lacking compared to any other stylist. It looks like she is able to set herself in her own category based on what she's offering, and people are still buying into that because of the quality, because of the consistency, because of her creativity. So find out what you can do to set yourself aside and how you can promote the fact that you have this, again, instead of, okay, I don't have this. Don't look at it as something that, you don't have and you wish you did, and, people just can get what you have because that's all you have. But position it in a way, again, that where you actually are seeing the benefit in offering the one texture that you offer. That's why I mentioned in the beginning, at the very top of my list, it was ask yourself why you're offering one texture. There are some people that decide to offer one texture because they have a similar mentality to a master. How does that saying go? A master of all trades, or a jack of all trades is a master of none. So there are some people that prefer to sell one specific texture and make sure that they have the absolute best quality, because they're not worried about or taking, doing inventory checks on any other textures. They're strictly focused on this specific texture. They're focused on how they can give advice for this specific texture. They're focused on learning this specific texture, and it works well for them. So just be sure that you are outlining, the reason why, not just for, especially if the reason why is similar to what I just mentioned. Because you're going to be able to explain a lot of the different options and availability that you can still create with the texture that you're offering. If you don't see it that way, it's going to be very hard to convince others of something you don't see. It's very hard to convince someone else to purchase or to really trust in something that you don't really trust in. Even if you're saying you do, your body language, your tone, how you position things on your website, your overall presentation is it's gonna let people know that you really don't believe in what you're offering, and maybe they should look someplace else because you don't really have that much to offer. The next thing that I want to go over, the next point, number 4, is keep in mind that more textures doesn't always equate to more sales. There are some people that believe that the more you sell on your online website or the more you have in your store, the more sales you'll have. And that isn't true. I used to believe that too. When I first started Bad Chick Hair, I did a couple different trial and errors before I closed it down and then decided to relaunch and stick with it. But when I first got started, I do remember adding a lot more textures than I currently have now. I was selling a lot of different textures, and I was under the assumption that, hey, if I offer all these textures, I'm going to get more sales. That's not always the truth, because when I did away with some textures that I didn't want to sell anymore, I still received a high volume of sales. I really didn't notice any decrease in my sales because of the textures that I took off. And the way that I kind of decided which textures to keep and which textures not to keep, it was a very it was a process. Let's just say that. I'll make another video on how that process went. If you all are interested, leave a comment down below. But once I made that decision, one of the factors in that decision making process was taking a look at what people were buying most frequently, more often, and what textures they weren't. And so I got rid of the textures that people weren't buying as frequently. And it left me with four main textures, four of my popular textures that I still offer today. And so it's important to be able to be in tune with your clients and also be able to be in tune with your vision, because there are going to be some people that say, hey, I don't want this, and some people that are going to say, hey, I do want this. But you have to be able to make a decision that's going to impact your business positively. And because we don't for sure know what the future holds, we can make our best guess. And like I mentioned before, time will tell, but being able to gauge and tap in with your customer base is also going to be able to give you a better understanding of what they're looking at, what they're looking to get, and if you can offer that. So selling is a part of having an online store. I know sometimes we believe that if we create a website and offer products and that's it, the website's going to do the selling for us. But that's not true either. Work as efficient as we can. There are going to be times that we're going to need to make contact with our customers and clients, and we're going to need to explain and answer questions and put ourselves in that position of an expert. Being an expert doesn't mean that you know everything, but it does mean that you're committed to finding solutions, finding answers, and problem solving. So keep that in mind, that if you're thinking that, hey, I was going to offer one texture and it made sense as to why, but you're like, no, I'm going to offer 15 now because I'm going to get more sales if I do that. That's not necessarily the case. There are some people that have experienced customers going to their website and being overwhelmed. And the way that they were able to find out that the customers were overwhelmed is because they would have a lot of abandoned carts, and when they would reach out, I advised them to reach out during business consultations, and sometimes people would ignore it. Sometimes people, would ignore the question and ask whatever question they had. But sometimes people would honestly say, hey, there's just too many options. I didn't know what to choose. I'll go back and look at it when I have time. So options is a good thing, but too many options can be distracting, and it can actually be counterproductive to what it is you're looking to achieve. Last point that I want to mention before I let you all go is listen to the requests of your client base to determine how selling one texture is working for your brand. Are the bulk of your customers happy? Did you find your target audience? Reevaluate and test out adding more textures if you think it's beneficial. So if you, like I mentioned before, if you decide that you want to offer more than one texture, you don't have to do it all at once. You don't have to, you're the pilot of this plane, right? You don't have to start off with one texture and keep your business at one texture for the entirety of it. You can start off with one texture and say, you know what, at this point I've gotten a lot of requests for this texture, so I'm going to bring it in. Or you can even do something where you bring in a certain texture that you've been requested a lot, or you even do like a vote or some kind of poll on your social media or through your newsletter, where people can weigh in on what texture they want to try. And you can do different textures that you offer during certain periods. So you can say, like, during the month of May, for example, we're introducing our new body wave texture. So if you're interested, then I would encourage you all to try between May 1st through May 25th. This is the rate. These are the texture. Here are some styles that you can try with this type of texture hair. Here are the benefits, and really sell that. And that's another way to create that sense of urgency and have people tuned into what you're offering, if you do it in a way where you're offering specific textures only certain times of the month or only certain times of the year. That could be something that you can look into as well. So I really hope that this video helped. Ultimately, it's up to you if you want to sell one texture or not. I would really decide as to, what my reasoning as to why I wanted to go that route would be. See if it makes sense, try it out, give it some time, get feedback from your customers and clients, look at the pattern on your website, figure out if it's something that is feasible for you to continue up with, figure out if you're able to tap into your target audience, if the audience that you have is broad enough to support your business. Just taking a look at all aspects and figuring out what way you want to continue is my best recommendation. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave them down below or go to my website at keepingupwithbrittany.com. I do want to thank you all for tuning in, and I will talk to you all in the next video. Bye.